I never thought a simple phone call from my sister would unravel the tangled web of lies that had been holding my family together, or what was left of it. My name is Emily Hayes, and at 28, I was knee-deep in restoring old barns and homesteads across Montana's Big Sky Country. That Tuesday evening, as I sketched out plans for a client's historic ranch house conversion, my phone lit up with Jessica's name. We weren't close. She was always more like Dad's shadow, chasing deals in his real estate empire. I picked up anyway, sensing trouble. "Emily," she said, her voice clipped like she was sealing a contract. "We need to talk about Mom's ranch." I set down my pencil, the familiar knot tightening in my stomach. "What about it? Be realistic." "The family's talked it over. You should sell it to us. That land's prime for development now, with all the resorts popping up in the valley." "The family? You mean you and Dad hashed this out over steaks at the country club?" I shot back, no laughter in my tone. "Don't get all high and mighty. That ranch is sitting on a gold mine. It's selfish to hog it when we could all cash in. Mom left it to me, Jess, not the family business. To me." There was a beat of silence. Then her voice turned icy. "Let it go, Emily, or we'll drag you to court. Dad's already looped in the lawyers. You've got 2 weeks to think about our offer." She hung up before I could fire back. I sat there in my cozy office, a converted tack room in the very ranch house they were gunning for, my hands trembling not from fear, but a boiling anger that felt like wildfire spreading through dry grass. That ranch wasn't just dirt and fences, it was my last tether to Mom. The one soul in our clan who saw me as more than the oddball daughter who wouldn't toe the line. The Hayes Ranch sprawled across 200 acres in Bitterroot Valley, Montana, backed by the jagged Sapphire Mountains. Mom had inherited it from her folks, and it had been in her line for generations, while the surrounding lands had morphed into luxury dude ranches and ski lodges. Mom turned down every buyout Dad threw her way. "This land has roots," she'd say, as we watched the sun dip behind the peaks from the front porch. "Your father sees subdivisions. I see the families who've worked this soil, the wildlife that calls it home, the quiet strength of the West." She'd passed 2 years back, a sudden cardiac arrest that hit like a rogue storm. Her will was ironclad. The ranch was mine. Dad challenged it at first, claiming undue influence, but the probate judge shut him down. Mom had dotted every I, crossed every T. Now, it seemed, they'd cooked up a fresh scheme. I fired up my laptop and scanned recent land sales in the valley. Prices had skyrocketed, parcels going for millions as developers eyed the area for high-end retreats. One outfit, Western Peaks Resorts, was snapping up whole swaths, bulldozing old homesteads for gated communities. My gut twisted. Then my phone rang again. It was Aunt Louise, Mom's closest friend, who ran a small guest cabin down the road. "Emily, darlin', I spotted your dad's truck at the lodge bar. He was huddled with some slick suits, the same ones who've been hounding me to sell. Did you catch what they were saying?" "Nope. But they had topo maps out. Maps of the whole valley. Your ranch was highlighted in red." After hanging up, I wandered the house, trailing my fingers over the weathered log beams Mom had sanded herself. In her old den, stacks of her files gathered dust, stuff I hadn't mustered the courage to sift through. Tonight felt like the night. Diving into the first box, I uncovered letters, deeds, and clippings. One headline jumped out: "Bitterroot locals push back against mega resort push," dated months before Mom's death. She'd been waging this fight solo. At the box's bottom, a sealed envelope, "For Emily only." Inside, Mom's neat handwriting: "Sweetheart, If this finds you, they're coming for the ranch. Your dad chases dollars, I chase what lasts. This place anchors something greater. Dig deep. Follow the trails. You're tougher than they know. Love. Mom. Tucked behind was a card for Rebecca Lawson, ESQ, specializing in land rights and anti-corruption law. On the back, call her when it's time. I knelt there amid the papers, a fire igniting in my chest. This wasn't about a ranch anymore. It was Mom's stand, her shield for the valley. Jessica's threat wasn't a warning, it was a gauntlet thrown. And I was picking it up. Growing up Hayes meant knowing your slot in the pecking order young.
Dad.
John Hayes. Bootstrapped Hayes Land Group from a modest surveying gig into a powerhouse reshaping Montana's wilds into profitable plots. His motto, land's only worth what you build on it.
Mom.
Sarah. Was his polar opposite, teaching environmental science at the local high school, leading trail cleanups, battling to keep the valley pristine. Their union baffled everyone, us kids included. Jessica, 3 years my senior, mirrored Dad's drive, interning at his firm by 16, mastering the art of the deal.
Me?
I took after Mom's fierce independence, earning an architecture degree focused on sustainable designs, not sprawl. Family suppers were like rodeos, tense and unpredictable. Dad held court on his latest flips, Jessica lapping it up. Mom steered toward safer waters, weather, wildlife sightings. I'd poke at my food, dreaming of escape. Closed on the old Miller spread today, Dad boasted one night. A year before Mom's end. 15 million. Raising it for 50 upscale cabins. That land's got ancient petroglyphs, Mom murmured. It's protected under state heritage laws. Was protected. Good attorneys fix that. He grinned at Jessica. You nailed the permits.
Kiddo.
Jessica preened. Found their soft spot. The heirs were squabbling. Picked off the nephew with gambling debts. The rest buckled. You shattered a family's history for vacation homes, I snapped. Upgraded junk to jewels, she countered. That's progress.
Eminência.
We make winners. You make ruins. Dad's knife clanged. Enough. If you can't respect the empire we've built, don't reap its rewards. John, Mom cautioned, but he was gone. Jessica lingered. He's spot on. You're just a dreamer leeching off ideals. Mom squeezed my hand. Ignore them. Your path counts. Does it? I'm crashing in your old cabin 'cause Dad's flips jacked up prices everywhere. You're here 'cause I choose it, she insisted. And it'll be yours one day. I've ensured that. I didn't grasp it then. The ranch cabin was her sanctuary for sketching wildflowers, far from Dad's boardroom buzz. When she offered it post-college, Dad fumed, but she held firm, one of her rare rebellions. The last time I saw Mom alive, she was mending fences at dawn. She paused, sweat on her brow. Promise me?
Eminência.
No matter what, don't let them pave this over. It's more than land, it's proof some values outlast cash. Mom, you're dramatic. You're just 62. Her eyes held mine. Promise. I promise. 3 days later, she collapsed leading a field trip on valley ecology. Kids said she was pointing out eagle nests when she dropped. Gone before help arrived. At the funeral, Dad stood stoic, Jessica orchestrated flawlessly. I alone shattered. Worse, the will reading, ranch to me solely. Dad's marital property claim flopped, Mom's inheritance was separate.
Now, 2 years on,
they circled back. But Mom's files revealed the brewing storm. She'd been the valley's guardian. That mantle was mine now. Plunging deeper into Mom's archives, The puzzle pieces snapped together. She'd chronicled it all. Emails, land records, correspondence with conservation groups. It was her war chest. One thread stood out, an exchange with the Montana Land Trust, months before her death. Mrs.
Hayes.
We echo your worries on the Valley acquisitions. But without proof of foul play, we're stuck. Evidence of coercion or fraud could trigger an inquiry. Mom's reply: they're sly. No blatant tracks. But I know my husband's game. This ain't just profit. It's wiping out what this land stands for. Another file: Valley transfers 2019 to 2023. Names I knew. Old-timers selling out. Buyers varied. Peak Holdings LLC. Sapphire Investments. Frontier Partners. But Mom's traces led back to Hayes Land Group. Dad had been gobbling the valley stealthily. A rap at the door broke my focus. Uncle Pete, a neighboring rancher, held a pie, face lined with concern. Emily, saw a fella snapping pics of your spread this morning. Said he was appraising. Got his plate. I thanked him. Texted the shot to my buddy Tyler, a reporter in Missoula. He rang back quick. Vehicles tied to Summit Evaluations, hired guns for developers. Digging up violations to squeeze sales. What's the mess?
AIM.
Family feud. Dig more? On it. But watch your back. That night, I visited holdouts. Old man Rivera at the feed store was locking up. They offered quadruple last month. When I balked, hinted at zoning snags, blocking my license renewal. Any records? Verbal only. Deniable. Your mom was the fighter. And look what? What? He shifted. She was stressed bad before. The end. Next. The Pine Creek Lodge. Run by the Wilsons. Your dad showed personally, mister. Wilson grumbled. Sipped our coffee. Then said sell nice or watch values plummet with mega lodges flanking us. Killing our views. Threats. Hypotheticals. Imagine a 20-story eyesore next door. Bad for business. Mrs. Wilson handed files. Your mom urged documenting. Building a case. Mom. She aimed to halt him. Then the attack. Can I copy? Take 'em. We're folding, too old. Finish her fight. Heading home. A dark SUV tailed me. Hanging back, but persistent. At my turnoff. It cruised by, driver suited. On a call. Doors bolted. Curtains drawn. I added the Wilsons' notes to Mom's spread. Pattern clear. Harassment skirting legality.
Then.
In Western Peaks plan, Mom's bombshell. Not just cabins, their vision. A sprawling resort swallowing 500 acres. Golf courses over meadows. Marinas damming creeks. Condos atop ranches. My place? Keystone parcel linking it all. Without it.
Flop.
I leaned back. Resolve hardening. Mom had armed me. The next morning, Rebecca Lawson returned my call. Your mom reached out last year, said Trouble Brewed. We met at a diner in Hamilton. She scanned files. This screams racketeering, coercion,
Bribery.
with proof. We nail 'em. But murder? Mom's death. Rebecca's eyes sharpened. Suspect? Her autopsy showed cardiac arrest, but if induced. Dad knew her family history. Will exhume if needed. First, build the fraud case. I nodded, but doubt gnawed. Was Dad capable? Back home. Jessica texted. Offer stands. Don't make this ugly. Ugly surplay, I replied. Tyler's update. Summit ties to your dad's firm. And get this. Valley counselors got campaign boosts from Hayes-linked PACs, then rezoned fast. Corruption ran deep. That week, pressure mounted. A courtesy inspector cited phantom violations, septic issues, fence setbacks. Fix or face fines, he said, smirking. I recorded it. Sent to Rebecca. Harassment Exhibit A. Neighbors rallied quietly. At a barn potluck. Whispers of shared stories. Your mom started this, one said. We're with you. But fear lingered. Rivera sold sudden. Wilson prepped to leave.
Then.
A break. Mom's hidden journal. Entries detailed Dad's rages over her blocks. John threatened divorce if I don't sign off. But I won't let him ruin this valley. Last entry. Met with Doc for checkup. John insisted on his guy. Feeling off. Her doctor? Hayes' crony. I confronted Jessica at her office in Missoula. What's Dad hiding? She paled. Stay out.
Eminência.
Mom's death wasn't natural. You're paranoid. But her eyes betrayed her. Rebecca pulled strings for Tox retest on stored samples. Results. Traces of a heart med overdose mimics arrest. Hard to spot unless sought. Dad got a how. His golf buddy's a cardiologist, Rebecca said. Immunity for testimony. The doc cracked. John said for a friend. Paid big. When Sarah died, I knew. Evidence mounted. We filed suit. Fraud. Coercion. Wrongful death. Dad's response. Countersuit for slander. But crack showed. Jessica called late. Drop it. Or Dad cuts you off forever. He's already cut Mom's life. Silence. What do you want? Truth. She hung up. But seeds planted. The valley buzzed. Local paper ran Tyler's exposé. Hayes' empire built on bullying? Protests at Dad's HQ. Stocks dipped. Hayes' land public now. Rebecca prepped class action with displaced owners. I found Mom's secret. She'd bought Hayes' shares anonymously. 7%. Enough for leverage. At a shareholder meet, I stood. I moved to investigate CEO misconduct. Dad glared. You ungrateful. Board paused ops. Jessica showed at my door. Broken. Mom planned to leave him. Filed papers. That's why. You knew. Suspected. But he's Dad. Help us. Tears fell. I have emails. Bribes.
Threats.
I'll testify for deal. Rebecca sealed it. FBI raided. Arrests followed. As Dad's world crumbled, I focused on healing, forming Bitterroot Preservation Trust, buying back lands with restitution. We turned greed to good. The courtroom in Missoula was a pressure cooker, packed with Valley folks, reporters, and the weight of buried truths. Dad sat at the defense table, his once commanding frame shrunken in a tailored suit that now looked like a costume. His high-powered lawyers from Boise fidgeted as the prosecutor.
Elena Vargas.
Laid out the case like a hunter setting traps. This isn't mere land grabs, she opened. It's a saga of corruption, intimidation, and cold-blooded murder masked as misfortune. The first days hammered the financial sins. Exhibits piled up, wire transfers to officials, coerced sales docs. A former councilman testified, voice shaking. Hayes threatened my re-election funds and worse. Hinted at accidents on job sites if I blocked rezoning. Dad's attorney cross-examined fiercely, painting witnesses as bitter failures. But the paper trail was a noose. Then, the cardiologist took the stand, immunity shielding him. John Hayes requested a high dose of digoxin, said for an associate. But Sarah's death. I connected the dots. Undetectable. Vargas pressed. unless tested specifically. It exploits heart weaknesses. The jury shifted uncomfortably. Jessica's testimony hit like a gut punch. She entered pale, avoiding Dad's stare. The day after Mom died, Dad said her exit cleared the path for the resort. Grieving.
Relieved.
No more roadblocks from her tree-hugging nonsense. Why testify now? Jessica glanced at me. Because my sister showed me what family should mean, not this poison. Mom died protecting our home. I helped bury that. Defense Torin, you're angling for control. No, she fired back. I want it dismantled. Lands returned. Victims whole. Her emails sealed it. Dad directing bribes.
Threats.
When Dad testified, his hubris undid him. My wife was a relic. Fighting growth. She embarrassed the Hayes name. So you removed her? Vargas probed. I did what protected our future, he barked. Then froze. Objections flew. But the jury heard. In closings, Rebecca wove our civil thread. Sarah Hayes fell defending her valley. Let's honor that with justice. Deliberation, 4 hours. Guilty on murder conspiracy, racketeering, bribery, all counts. Dad's face drained as cuffs clicked. You ruined me, he hissed at me. You ruined yourself. Mom just left the map to prove it. Post-verdict. Assets liquidated. Trust funds swelled. We repurchased parcels, designating them protected. But redemption bloomed. Jessica, post-testimony, volunteered at the trust. I need to fix what I broke. We transformed Dad's old office into a community hub, workshops on land stewardship, legal aid for smallholders. One evening, as golden light bathed the ranch, Jessica and I sat on the porch. Mom saw this in you, she said softly. In us, I corrected. She believed in second chances. Dad got life. But I sent a letter. Forgiveness isn't forgetfulness, but maybe understanding. Greed blinded you. Community heals. No reply, but it lightened my load. The trust thrived, eco-tours. Youth programs teaching sustainable ranching. Rivera's feed store reopened as a co-op. Wilson's Lodge became a retreat for vets. Tyler's articles spread, inspiring similar fights statewide. On Mom's death anniversary, we dedicated Sarah Hayes Preserve, trails, meadows restored. Plaque, in land we trust, in community we thrive. As kids laughed in wildflowers, I felt her presence. We turned betrayal to bonds, greed to growth. With the trial's dust settling, the real work kicked in, rebuilding not just land, but lives. The Bitterroot Preservation Trust wasn't some paper entity. It became the valley's heartbeat. Using restitution millions, we didn't just buy back acres. We revived them. Overgrazed pastures turned to wildflower meadows, drawing pollinators and tourists who valued the real West,
not sanitized resorts.
I threw myself into designs. Adaptive reuse of old barns into affordable housing pods. Solar-powered for off-grid living. Mom would have loved this, Jessica said one day, helping install panels. She'd quit corporate life, trading suits for jeans, channeling her smarts into grant writing for the trust. Feels like atonement, I asked. More like awakening. Dad taught winning at all costs. Mom showed costs matter. We uncovered more. Dad's schemes spanned Wyoming, Idaho. Feds built cases. He faced add-ons. Ensuring prison walls held his ambitions. But I focused forward. Community meetings packed the hub, folks brainstorming eco-farms, anti-development pacts. Uncle Pete chaired. Sarah started this fire. Emily fanned it. A surprise, anonymous donation, traced to Jessica's sold assets. For Mom, she shrugged. Challenges arose,
Heute out developers sued.
claiming eminent domain twists. Rebecca shredded them in court. This land's protected under federal trusts now, untouchable. Victories stacked. We partnered with tribes, restoring access to sacred sites Dad's plans would have bulldozed. Ceremonies echoed in canyons, healing old wounds. Personally, ghosts lingered. Nights, I'd pore over Mom's sketches. Valley vistas alive with elk, eagles. You saw the soul here, I'd whisper. Tyler proposed a book. Your story's inspiration. Not mine, ours. Valley's triumph over tycoons. It hit shelves. Proceeds to trust. Reviews praised. A Western tale of grit and grace. Jessica and I grew closer.
Dîner sans drama.
Remember Mom's stargazing, she'd say. We'd lie out. Constellations above. She taught wonder trumps wealth. One crisp fall. Dad wrote, regrets. Power blinded me. Proud of what you've built, I replied. Build your own peace inside. Family's more than blood, it's choices. No more letters. But closure came. The trust expanded. Scholarships for enviro studies. Vet programs using ranch therapy. Wounded warriors found solace mending fences, literal and not. At a fundraiser gala in the hub, Rebecca toasted. From ashes, abundance. As applause rose, I slipped to the porch. Mountains silhouetted. We did it.
Mom.
Turned their destruction to our creation. Her lesson echoed. Greed devours, community endures. A year post-trial, the valley bloomed anew, not with concrete, but life. The Hayes Ranch stood as Trust HQ, bustling with volunteers planting native grasses, kids learning trail maintenance. We'd acquired adjacent spreads, creating a 1,000-acre preserve where Dad dreamed towers. Jessica led outreach. This isn't preservation for show's sake. It's for folks to live, work, thrive sustainably. We hosted festivals, bluegrass bands, artisan markets, drawing ethical tourism. Revenues looped back, funding more buys. Personal growth hit too.
I met Alex.
A biologist partnering on wildlife corridors. Our walks sparked something real, shared values. Quiet strength. Your mom's legacy drew me here, he said. She's still guiding. Dad's health failed in prison. He passed quietly. At his sparse service, Jessica and I stood together. He wasn't all monster, she murmured. Just lost. Lesson. Balance ambition with heart. We scattered ashes on neutral ground, forgiving without forgetting. The Trust's crowning, state recognition as Model Conservation District. Governor visited. Bitterroot proves communities beat corporations. Media dubbed it the people's victory. But to us, it was Mom's. On her birthday, we unveiled a center, Sarah Hayes Ecolab, teaching sustainable aging. As families toured, I reflected. Dad aimed to raise for riches. I safeguarded for souls. Not revenge, but restoration. Her final letter, found in a hidden drawer. Emily. Real strengths in stewardship. Turn their takings to givings. That's true West, resilient, rooted. I folded it, stepping into sunlight. Valley voices mingled. Laughter. Lessons.
Life.
We'd learned, family fractures heal with truth, lands endure with care. Greed's fleeting, communities forever. In that, Mom's spirit rode eternal.